You sit down to meditate and you engage in metta practice. You develop feelings of goodwill towards others and seek to establish a mind free of ill will. As you complete your meditation, you dedicate your merit so that all beings may be free of suffering. Hi, it's Margaret Maloney, and welcome to the Death Dhamma podcast. I'm a Buddhist practitioner out here in the world, having experienced the loss of my loved ones and knowing how much my Buddhist practice helped me on my grief journey. And now, together, we have this safe space to discuss death, dying, grief, and the Buddhist teachings that help us really understand attachment, impermanence, being compassionate, being death ready, what it means to live a life so that we can have a peaceful death. Yep, it's a big topic, and we're going to take it on together. Let's go. You might wonder, if you already generated thoughts of goodwill toward others, whether sending merit is an unnecessary extra? Metta and merit work together. You might find it helpful to think of them as part of the same system. And this system not only helps you on your path, it allows you to free others from their suffering as well. Some translate merit as loving kindness. Others prefer the phrase goodwill. For our discussion, let's think of it as the ability to direct well wishes to others, to sincerely want others to be well and happy. Merit is a force that comes from the good deeds you have done, assuming that you committed those good deeds with the right intention. It is bound to our karma. Our actions, past and present, shape our experience in this life and in the next. To practice good deeds with the right intention requires a mind free of ill will. Metta allows you to behave in a way that supports the creation of merit. As you move forward with your metta practice, you can direct well wishes to an expanding circle of beings, so that when you say, "May all beings be happy and free from suffering," you really mean all beings, difficult friends, family, and co-workers included. And now you have created or added to your merit store. This passage from the Itivuttaka sheds some light on merit and metta together. Train in acts of merit that bring long-lasting bliss. Develop giving, a life in tune, a mind of goodwill. Developing these three things that bring about bliss, the wise reappear in a world of bliss and unalloyed. A mind of goodwill is an important component of merit. As taught in the Pali Canon, merit comes from three sources: generosity or dana, virtue or sila, and mental development, bhavana. Metta bhavana is not the only way that you collect merit. In fact, of the 10 ways to generate merit, dana is the most significant. But metta makes it possible for you to become capable of creating merit, of benefiting from merit that you have earned in past lives. This passage from Metta, The Philosophy and Practice of Universal Love, by Acharya Buddhaharakita, explains the critical role that metta plays in helping us receive the power of our merit. When one projects this total wish for others to dwell happily, free from hostility, affliction, and distress, not only does one elevate oneself to a level where true happiness prevails, but one sets in motion powerful vibrations, conducing to happiness, cooling off, enmity, relieving affliction, and relieving distress. Metta has been identified as that specific factor which ripens the accumulated merit, or punna, acquired by the 10 ways for the acquisition of merit, such as the practice of generosity, virtue, and so on. Again, it's metta which brings to maturity the 10 exalted spiritual qualities known as perfections, or paramitas. The human mind is like a mine holding up an inexhaustible storehouse of spiritual power and insight. This immense inner potential of merit can be fully exploited only by the practice of metta, as is clear from the description of metta as that maturing force which ripens the dormant merits. In the Mangala Sutta, it is said that only after one has effected on elevating interpersonal relationship by resorting to good company and so on, does one choose the right environment for the merits of the past to find fruition. This finding of fruition is exactly what metta does. Mere avoidance of wrong company and living in a cultured environment is not enough. The mind must be cultivated by metta, hence the allusion to the fruition of past merit. Okay, at this point, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with the Death Dhamma podcast? You can see where we're going in terms of the alleviation of suffering, but also, again, it's the Death Dhamma podcast. Okay, merit earned in this life follows you to the next, potentially. Consider the final statement in this passage from the Samyutta Nikaya. Grain, wealth, silver, gold, or whatever belongings you have, slaves, servants, errand runners, and any dependents, you must go without taking any of them. You must leave all of them behind. What you do with body, speech, or mind, that is yours. Taking that you go, that's your follower, like a shadow that never leaves, that you should do what is fine as a stash for the next life. Acts of merit are the support of beings in the after-death world. We also probably want to acknowledge here that this passage talks about slaves and servants because at the time of the Buddha, people did have slaves and servants, and that isn't necessarily a good thing. And I'm reading the passage as it is written, not advocating for any of us to have slaves and servants, but for us to work with people in an equitable way. However, that is the passage as it is written. And basically the point is, whatever you have, whatever you think you own, again, we can't own other people, but whatever we think we own, when we die, that gets left behind. But what we have done with body, speech, or mind, or karma, that's what goes with us, right? Your follower, a shadow that never leaves. So not only does your merit help you, but you can also use it to help your deceased loved ones. You can transfer the merit you earn. We use metta, sending well wishes to other loved beings, to other loved living beings, and all living beings. And when we can develop this state of goodwill towards others, we'll ripen the merit we have been carrying, and we are more likely to behave in ways that will add to our merit store. We can then dedicate our merit to our deceased family. We cannot do anything about the fact that they have died. We cannot control if they are reborn or when or where they are reborn. We can send them merit, and if the conditions are right, your merit will benefit them. So when you can channel the energy of your grief into doing good deeds for others, or sending your compassionate thought to others, you are creating positive energy. And the deceased may benefit from that energy. Take note of this qualifier. If the conditions are right. That's an important thing to think about, if the conditions are right. The Janasonian Sutta discusses offerings to the dead. Janasonian is a Brahmin who asks the Buddha about the conditions under when the dead may receive gifts from the living. Merit is the gift that he's talking about. The Buddha teaches Janasonian that merit only reaches those who are in what he refers to as the possible places, but not those who are in the impossible places. Now, there's a long list of impossible places, including the hell realm, the animal realm, the human realm, and the deva world. So we can't help those who are in hell. We can't help our pets with merit, and we can't help devas. So what's the possible place? The realm of hungry ghosts. Your merit reaches your dead family members who have become hungry ghosts. Now, with more impossible places than possible places, Janasonian wonders what will happen if none of his ancestors are hungry ghosts. In other words, like, is this all for nothing? If I can only send my merit to hungry ghosts, what's the point? And the Buddha assures Janasonian that it's likely that there will be an ancestor on hand to receive the merit. It's very likely that we too have ancestors who are hungry ghosts, because that state of wanting is so prevalent in the human realm, and so many people die with that as their state or shaping their karma, that it is likely that we too have ancestors who are hungry ghosts. So we never have to worry about, is our merit going to go anywhere and is it going to help? But just in case, don't worry. In the rare instance that there is not an ancestor who is a hungry ghost, the donor still receives the benefits that come from seeking to transfer merit in others. So because you're seeking to transfer merit to others with the intention of helping them, whether there's someone on the receiving end or not, you are still going to receive the benefits. In fact, the sutta goes on to discuss how one who otherwise would have a less than desirable rebirth can avoid landing in one of the impossible places. So, how can we avoid landing in one of the impossible places? Generosity. Generosity in this life creates merit. Transferring or dedicating your merit to others is an act of giving that helps you and possibly your ancestors. And you are inspired to give when you are free of animosity, when you have a mind of goodwill. And in this way, we have the relationship, the interplay between metta and merit, and the ability within our practice to alleviate ourselves and others from suffering. I've got books for you, starting with Carpooling with Death, How Living with Death Will Make You Stronger, Wiser, and Fearless, the book that got me going and helped me to discuss going through the death of my loved ones, followed by Sitting with Death, Buddhist insights to help you face your fears and live a peaceful life, based on Season 1 of the Death Dhamma podcast. And just recently, Enlightenment Unleashed, how your pet can lead you to spiritual transformation, because during our lifetime, we may see the rising and ceasing of many pets, and we love them like they are our family. Find these on Amazon.com or come see me at MargaretMaloney.com. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on MargaretMaloney.com, MargaretMeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.